All right, guys, now let's take a closer look at the four models. Once again, this is the one we already saw in our last video. It is the Maruyama BT23L. And smallest and lightest one from Maruyama. It is the big ProScape series, I should say. And we fitted it here with the Shindaiwa blade. And you can see the difference, if you guys look, between the two clutch housings from the 32cc and the 23cc. Pretty big difference. Again, this is an older model Maruyama, 32cc. And you can see the shaft. They kind of look the same between the two, but again, the difference is the clutch housing. This one looks like it has a beefier clutch and just a little bit bigger engine. Next one, we have the B450 by Shindaiwa. Again, this one is the good old reliable. It's a workhorse. Hours and hours and hours of cutting. This thing will not stop. Just a very robust design. As you can see, the gas tank down there is suspended. Just an awesome machine. And last but not least, this is the Maruyama B42. And as you can see, they're kind of dirty. They just came from doing a yard. And you guys can kind of see the offset between the two. As far as the handlebar goes, you can see the Maruyama has a really wide stretch to it, and the Shindaiwa is kind of closer together. The two smaller Maruyamas are pretty much the same. And now let's go over to the whip. This is one thing that I wanted to follow up with you guys on. I know we were talking about whip in the other video, but let's go more into detail now. By the way, all of these machines take a 50-to-1 mix, and you can get them. I get this brand at the Home Depot. Basically, what you want to do is, as far as this mix goes, it goes by ounces. So in this particular type of bottle, I always wondered, how in the world does this thing work? Basically what you do is you just unscrew the top just a little bit, and you kind of squeeze the oil in here until it gets to that 2.6 fluid ounce level, and then you pour it in, and the rest of the oil on the bottom just stays there. It doesn't go with the rest. This up here is its own container. So all you do is you put it to the right mixture and you pour it in, and the mixes are right here. As you can see, 50-to-1. It says 89 octane. That's one thing that I use. Is I use high octane fuel. I always go for the premium fuel, because these are two-stroke motors, and so with the cheaper fuels, they have a lower flash point, which means that you can have detonation before the piston reaches the top, because it's easier to burn. The lower grade fuels burn faster. So what that means is sometimes it can reach flash point and go off before the piston goes all the way to the top, which means the piston will be pushing down, or force will be pushing down on the piston while it's still making its way up, which is counter, productive for what it's meant to do, which is it's supposed to explode pushing the piston down, not explode while it's getting pushed up. So with that, I think they call it ping. You'll get that pinging sound because detonation is happening before it goes all the way up. So if you get to the higher octane fuels, that it tends to happen less, and because the fuel burns a little slower, you get more expansion for a longer period of time. So or you can buy these bottles here, which is a 1 gallon mix. You just throw one of these in for every gallon. Now be careful, because I don't know if you guys noticed, but that says 40 to 1. 40 to 1 is going to make the oil too rich, and you won't have the right, I believe it's when it has more oil in it, you have less fuel air mixture, so you're not getting enough air mixed in with the fuel. And plus, with too much oil, it's not gonna make your engine run good. You're gonna see a lot of black smoke, and you're gonna have a lot of bogging. So be sure to use the right mix, that's correct with your engine. Some engines do use 40 to 1, like my chainsaw uses 40 to 1. My blower uses 50 to 1. Always check. So again, right here we have the Maruyama razor wire. This thing I found to be awesome for yards like this, just regular typical yards. It's amazing. It does really, really well, and it lasts pretty long. The only thing is, if you get into really thick stuff, this thing will wrap around it and hold on, and it's easier to break off when you're dealing with really, really thick, like twigs and stuff, like twig-sized trees that you're trying to take down. It's not so good. That's where this Vortex wire comes in, or string, right here. This is the package Vortex. This is the skinnier model. I bought it on accident. I was supposed to buy the thicker model, which is supposed to be thicker than this razor wire, but it seems to do the job just as well. You just got to change it more often because the ends get split. This one is the good old reliable. This one is made, it's called Ultraflex, and this one's made by Shindaiwa. There's nothing really too special about it, except for the fact that it's very flexible. It's harder to break off than these other two, and this is good for really, really thick stuff because it tends to hold on less, so that if you're hitting like a bigger type of I guess when you're hitting things like that thick, it won't grab onto it. It'll just whack it and slide off, so it's less chance of it breaking. These other two you can find at the Home Depot. This one here is Universal Trimmer Line Heavy Duty from Rhino Tough. It's supposed to be for walk behind trimmers, but these handle it just fine. You can see there it's grooved. And actually, let me get you guys into the light here. You can see here that there's some grooves on it, and so it's supposed to like kind of grip the grass blade and pull it out. Same thing here with this. This is also I believe Rhino Tough from the Home Depot. And this thing is awesome. I wish all of these came with these. This is the cutter. You just feed the trimmer in there. There's a little blade, and you push this thing back down, and it just cuts it right off. Easy. This one's a triangle shape, and the edges are supposed to cut through the grass better, and it does. They all do. all of these trimmers do a very good job. All of these bush cutters do a very good job. And so if you're in the market for a bush cutter, you can't go wrong with any of these models. Maruyama also has models in between. They also have, I believe it's the B27, and you know, that's the first letter, and I'm pretty sure there's some letters in between and after. Basically, it's gonna be the B27. I believe it's a 32. I could be mistaken, but if you go on their website, they'll have all their lineups there. And then they also have the 42, and they're all good. For me, if you're not really doing a whole bunch of different types of yards, the B32 is the best. As far as one size fits all, you're not gonna do really heavy duty work. You're gonna do mild work. They also have a B350, Shindaiwa B350. If you get one of those, that's kind of in the same level as that B32. A little bit. Actually, no, it's not. It's not a smaller package. It's the same size as the B450. Maybe not the same weight because of the cc size of the engine, but very minute difference. Same thing you're gonna see with the B27 and the 32, except for the 32 you're gonna get more power. The 32 also doesn't have as thick of a shaft as the 42, and so you're gonna get kind of like this 32cc right here. You're gonna get a little more power than that 23, but you're gonna have the convenience of a lightweight string trimmer or bush cutter like the 23. So to me, a good all-around workhorse. If you don't need the monsters to do very, very thick stuff, like I would use it for that right there, like this type of grass. That's what I would use the big ones for. However, the 32 would do the same job with less work. You know, and I believe the difference really is going to be longevity. If you're using the smaller one to do bigger tasks, you're going to wear out the engine a little bit easier than it would the bigger one. You know, it's kind of like towing with the V6 and towing with the V8. If you tow a lot with the V6, your engine's wearing out more because it's putting in more work than the V8. However, you're not using a V8 all the time to tow heavy stuff. So if you're just doing Sunday drives and you know you're really just cruising, you're not really hauling anything, and you're not into going fast, then the V8 doesn't really make sense, if you get what I mean. Corolla would just do just fine, or a Camry, or you know, something a little bit more sensible to drive around. But if you're gonna race and you're racing all the time, and you want that big Hemi, or you know, the V8 with the blower on it, you know, to take off. So that's kind of the same thing when you're choosing between these bush cutters here, is you want to figure out what it is you're gonna do, what it is you're gonna need to do, and always think about the future. You know, are you doing a big yard now but you're gonna downsize? Are you doing a small yard now but you want to do more? Those are the kinds of decisions you have to make. Another thing you're gonna want to do as far as choices is price. With every step up, you're talking hundreds in between the difference in pricing. You know, the 23, I believe you can get it for around 300 some. The 42, you're almost looking at 600 bucks. So that's another thing you want to consider. But let me just tell you this, it's gonna last you for years. It's not a short-term investment. You can't look at it that way. It's a big upfront investment, but that thing's gonna last you 10, 15 years. And so you calculate $600 through 15 years and how much you're paying, you know. versus you don't have one, you have to pay someone to come out and do your yard. You gotta weigh out the two different scenarios there, and so that's what's gonna make you pull the trigger in getting one of these. I don't know about where you're from, but here on Guam, the local Maruyama shop, I believe they offer a 2-year warranty on their machines, on their Maruyamas. I'm not sure about the Shindaiwa shop right now. I know Echo, I believe, bought out Shindaiwa, so you're gonna see a lot of the Shindaiwa type models rebranded as Echo. You can already see it in their chainsaws. So just be on the lookout for that. Also, some equipment that you want to use while you're doing these trims and this cutting is one of these. You really want to protect your face. You know, this is a must. You absolutely have to cover your eyes. And these are actually, you know, they look like stylish shades, but these are actually Z74. Sorry, Z94. Z rating. That's what you want to look for safety glasses. Always look for that Z rating on it. Your eyes, you can't, man, I'm telling you. I have gotten an eye injury before. It's the worst pain ever. I was out for 2 days, couldn't open my eyes. And it wasn't from doing this. It was just a simple twig that, you know, something like this just came up and poked me in the eye, and that's all it took. So definitely wear one of these. Another thing you want to consider is ear protection. These are over the ear protections that, you know, this one is ANSI rated. But if you know you're hot, this is actually my uniform right here. When I'm doing regular grass, when I'm doing very thick stuff, I'll turn to these because I need the protection. But you know, regular grass, kind of like this, not a lot of rocks. You can get away with this setup here. You're good to go. I also have a couple of shin guards. You know, you definitely want to protect yourself. So guys, that's it. There's other brands out there. There's also one that's called a Robin. I believe there's a 411 and a 3 something. Those are older models. If you find one of those models are good too. I do not recommend the Steel brand. And I'm sorry if you own one, or I'm sorry if you sell these. I'm just being honest. I've worked on a few of them for some of my friends. They seem to be very well built and put together, but for some reason they're not reliable. They have reliability issues. So, you know, if you're someone that likes to tinker, go for it. And I believe they're top of the line when it comes to chainsaws. Hands down, Steel is one of the best chainsaws out there. But string trimmers, bush cutters, brush cutters, I don't know. At least in my own experience, maybe you guys, you know, may differ with experience, but for me, my own experience, don't go with Steel. Also, the newer Echoes, like the Home Depot models, they're not worth it. Ryobi, stay away from those guys. You know, if you're really gonna buy a tool, buy one that's gonna last you. You know, again, you're gonna offset the cost. You're gonna be like, well, the one at Home Depot is $150, but you're gonna have to buy that $150 tool more than once. Plus, you're gonna have to fight with it. You know, who wants something that you're gonna have to pull and pull and pull and mess with? Whereas you get one of these, and you guys all witnessed it. This, I bet you this one down here is about 20 years old. I bet this one here is 15 years old. But you guys we both witnessed that they all start up relatively easy. Granted, the older model Maruyama, you know, takes a few pulls, but it is going to start up, and you don't have to mess with it. It's not going to bog out. It's not going to, mess with you, you know, in the way where, you know, you're gonna have to keep fighting with it. So anyway, guys, if you're out in the market, I hope this really helped you. If there's anything else that you want to see that I can, you know, be more in detail with as far as these go, if you want to see them in action, I'll probably throw in some footage of me cutting some grass here. Please do not hesitate. I'm more than happy. I made this video because of a comment that was put out there. I appreciate the feedback, and as I promised, I'm going to put this out so that you guys have more of a reference. And you know, as I get, if I run into anybody who has this equipment that I can borrow and show to you, I'll get it, I'll borrow it, I'll put it up so you can see and you can reference it. Anyway, guys, that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed this video. Once again, East out.